Yan, recorded na. Okay. Muna.
Alright, good evening.
Good evening.
Introduce muna ka. Okay, brothers, ang speaker natin si Kat ulit, no? Ang topic niya, extension yung topic niya dati, which is truth. Ha? Okay. Ang ano natin, ang vice assistant facilitator today, si Fred, ha? Siya yung, kung sino yung unang nagtaas ng kamay, siya yung magkasalita. Sinabi niya tama na, hinto na kayo, ha?
So, sino pong Fred?
Ilang bang minutes ang gusto niyo? Tinatanong ni Fred, eh. Pag mag-question na si mamaya.
Kasi limitado tayo sa oras, pinakano natin yung 3 minutes, mahaba-haba yun.
Matagal ng 3 minutes.
Mahaba yun.
2 minutes.
Mahaba rin.
Hindi naman,
1 minute.
2 minutes naman.
2 minutes.
Hirap bilangin yung inihap eh.
2 to 3, maximum 3.
Yun na nga, sa maximum 3. Kaya,
Sa boxing yun,
kung hindi nyo maubos yun, okay lang. Basta,
2 minutes.
maximum na yung 3.
Okay, 2 to 3.
Hindi, ganito ang maximum of 2.
Maximum.
Pag may oras pa, pwede lang second round naman.
Sige.
One more round. Ano?
Okay.
Matagal yung 3 minutes. 1 round sa boxing yun. Tagal yun. Okay?
Good evening, sir.
O yan ha, kasunduan yun ha.
Ayun. Tapos ito
2
kayo.
minutes na, maximum of 2 minutes ha. Pero meron pa natin round kung may oras.
Pero, alright. Siguro, to neutralize that, since this is the second part of the talk on truth, see, the first time, I dealt on the philosophical way to find arrive at the truth. And there were questions, kasi philosophical nga ang approach, and I am not a philosophy major. I am a psychology major.
Okay.
So kung tatanungin ako about truth on the philosophical manner, I may not be the authority to answer that. That's why today's time, I'm going to deviate a bit, but not necessarily trash the philosophical view. In fact, I'm going to start with that. So, again, the same basic question. What is truth? Although last time, I have already gave you certain theories about truth. Yes, you remember correspondence theory. Mamaya babalikan natin yan. But I'd like to emphasize something that I placed, which is the truth in us. Okay? Which means, those who came here the first time, I already told the group that the Theosophical viewpoint of truth, which is, though religion should be above it, is that there's only one truth. There's an absolute truth. Different from the absoluteness of truth based on physical things, based on science. So, yung absolute truth na yun, makukuha lang natin sa isa't isa sa atin. Kaya nga, siguro yung mga question, hindi ako yung sasagot nun. Kaya sabi ko nga, ang buhay ng ibon ay nasa inyong mga kamay, if you remember. Diba? Ang hawak ng ibon, buhay o patay? Hindi. Mabubuhay o mamamatay yan, depende sa ito. So, to save time, if you remember, correspondence theory describes truth in terms of relation concepts or, itong i-highlight ko, propositions. What are propositions? Na-highlight ko siya kasi a proposition is a representation of the world or a way the world could possibly be. Then yung mga nakukuha natin in our day-to-day experiences. And propositions have a certain characteristic. They could either be true or false. They were truth because they are the things that are true or false. But since who is saying the truthness or falseness of a proposition, tao eh. So, it is based on man. However, I emphasize on propositions because I'm going to emphasize, which I have already introduced before, belief. Now, what is a belief? It is a proposition that a person accepts as representing the way the world actually is. Iba na yan. While a proposition may be true or false, beliefs tend to be true. Bakit ganon? Kasi yun ang pinaniniwalaan mo eh. Even if it is false. So magkaiba yun, ha? So, beliefs can be about true or false propositions even though a person always accepts them as being true. Bawa, soul exists, God exists. Ay, maraming mag-uusap dyan. Lalo na yung mga atheists. May questionin yan. But belief yan eh. Now, how do we go deeper? Siyempre, kailangan natin ng knowledge. Knowledge, if you'll see, is a belief. Una, belief is a proposition, di ba? Ngayon, knowledge is belief in a true proposition. Na the person is just justified. May paliwanag na. In holding as true. However, the conditions under which a person is justified is complicated. Kaya nagkakaroon ng pagkatalo tayo eh. And there are many theories about when the conditions are met. Clear so far?
Okay lang.
Review lang tayo, review.
Okay lang.
Ngayon, yung coherence theory, if you remember, correspondence and then coherence, is already a set of propositions of interconnected beliefs. Pabigyan ng proposition. Halimbawa, all heavenly bodies are stars. Or all stars are heavenly bodies. The sun is a star. Therefore, the sun is a heavenly body. Anong science yan? Correct reasoning. Logic. Ito naman. All stars are heavenly body. Catherine Bernardo is a star. Catherine Bernardo is a heavenly body. Tama ba yun? Medyo mali, di ba?
Malas niyo.
Kasi physical.
Fallacy. Ano yung fallacy?
Oh.
Yung star doon, different in two statements. Yung isa, speaking of star as a heavenly body, yung isa, speaking of star as a person.
Physical.
Kaya hindi nagkakaintindihan. Alright? But what I want to emphasize is, pagka nagkaroon ka ng fallacy sa mga sunod-sunod mong mga pag-iisip, analysis, magkakaroon ka ng conclusion na hindi maganda. And that is where nagkakatalo-talo. If you'll notice, if you engage in an argument, marami kang interconnected beliefs or propositions.
Conflict.
Ngayon, at this point in time, umpisahan ko na. Kasi hindi ako, hindi ito, kayo. What beliefs do you have? If ever you go through your day-to-day living, what guides you? Importante kasi yan eh. Dahil your beliefs are your values. And your values are reflected in your choices, decisions, which every day we do. Pupunta ba ako sa TS ngayon o hindi? Bibigyan ko ba siya ng pera o hindi? Patitirahin ko ba siya dito o hindi? And when you make decisions, whether you are conscious of it or not, it reflects your values. Sa psychology, tinatawag na natin yung habits, automated response. Alright? So ngayon, unti-unti lang yan, pero umpisahan ko na. Ano ang foundation ng inyong beliefs? Ano yung core ng inyong belief? Yan. Kasi, a belief is true if it is consistent with other beliefs we have. May pagkakataon kaya na yung mga paniniwala natin. Minsan, naguguluhan tayo. Mahal ko siya, pero bakit ko siya ginaganito? May mga ganun bang pagkakataon? Kung mahal ko siya, hindi ko siya gaganito eh. Mukhang naguguluhan ako. Ako yun, Alright. So, let us see. Anong ginagamit natin to find the truth? Science. May questions ba? May disagreement? Are we in the same language? Let's see. Some audience participation. When you hear the word science, what word comes to your mind? One word lang. One word. Science. Discovery. Sige, makaapat lang tayo. Knowledge.
Research.
Research.
Facts.
Facts. Sa. Scientific method. What comes to your mind? Process, good.
System.
System. But when you start with a scientific method, you begin with a problem and an
Hypothesis.
answer. Hypothesis. When you try to answer hypothesis, you come up with some theories.
Theory.
And eventually, you might discover a law.
Law.
Now, may mga questions kasi mamaya makikita yan. Sabi ko, spirit. Yeah? Sabi spirit, yan ba na pag-aaralan ng science? Sasagutin ko yan mamaya. No? Pero bago yun, I'd like you to watch a very short but interesting thing about all of this scientific method from a clip from the YouTube I picked up.
We need to get something straight. Evolution by natural selection is a theory. So is climate change. But people keep saying that like it's a bad thing. I get it. I understand your frustration. We're all searching for ultimate #truth. And complex, challenging ideas don't always fit nice and neatly in our brains. But what is truth? Are there different levels of truth? Are some truths truthier than others? Well, I don't know. But I do know this. Science is the absolute best tool we have for understanding how the universe works. And theory is not a four-letter word. If we're going to trust science together, the least we can do is speak the same language. Words like fact, theory, hypothesis, and law mean something totally different to a scientist than the way they're used in everyday speech. So let's get them straight. Facts are really just observations about the world around us. And we observe things every day, like that it's bright outside when I look out the window. And we often develop explanations for those observations, like, okay, the sun is probably up. Congrats! We just developed a hypothesis. But a hypothesis isn't something you prove. It's something you test. So, let's walk outside. Right? The sun is up. Hypothesis confirmed. Way to go! We did the science. We often come up with multiple hypotheses to explain an observation. We just eliminate the ones that are wrong. What's left over is not a theory or a law or an ultimate truth. It's just a possible explanation for something, one that can lead us to new hypotheses, which may agree or disagree with the original one. It's a never-ending story, only without the big fluffy dragons. So good. When enough hypotheses have gotten the old scientific check mark, we can pile these all up and turn them into something greater, a theory. A theory is the way we know something works, based on the evidence we've collected and all the hypotheses that we've successfully put to the test. The best thing about a theory is that we can use it to make predictions, and not just about the way things are, but how they will be. You may have heard someone say something like, I have a theory about why cats purr. I think it's because they're actually tiny robots, and those are their gears. Well, that's not a theory. That's actually a hypothesis. It's something that could be tested, but don't try this at home. This cycle, taking facts and observations, thinking up possible explanations, testing those explanations, and then making predictions based upon them, that's what this whole science thing is about. Being a theory isn't a bad thing. It means that idea got the gold star, the blue ribbon, a big shiny trophy that says, countless experiments have shown that I am sufficient to explain all the observations that I encompass. Now, to see if you got this down, let's look at some examples. Fact, people get sick. I think we can all accept that. Hypothesis, people get sick because something gets in their body and starts doing bad things. Test each hypothesis, throw out the bad ones, and we're left with a framework that lets us understand why we get sick and make predictions. The germ theory of disease. Okay, let's try another. Evolution is a fact. We know that it happens, no doubt. But how does it happen? Evolution by natural selection is a theory. We've come up with thousands and thousands of hypotheses about it, tested them, thrown out the bad ones, and we developed a pretty darn good framework for predicting how living things change over time. So yeah, it's a theory, Stop seeing it like a bad thing. Calling it a theory means it's passed the toughest test that we can throw at it. And evolution has been tested maybe more than any other theory we know of. We should really call it the theory of the fact of evolution. What about something as fundamental as gravity? Is that a theory or is it a law? In science, a law is a detailed description, usually using math, of how something happens, like the movement of gas molecules related to temperature, or how mass and energy are always conserved. But a law doesn't tell us why something happens. Gravity, as it turns out, is a law and a theory. Newton's law of universal gravitation describes precisely how two objects will attract each other based on their masses and the distance between them, and gives us a nice formula we can use to figure it out. Textbook law. But Newton's equation doesn't describe what is happening or why. To do that, we need a theory of gravity. Fact. If I drop this, it'll fall. Law. I can mathematically describe how fast that apple and the earth will accelerate toward one another based on their masses and distance. But why is it happening? Hypothesis. There's a force pulling on the apple, or maybe there's something about the universe and the way it's structured that makes massive things fall toward one another. Or maybe the apple is like magnetically attracted to Earth or something. Eliminate the bad ones and we're left with a theory. And thanks to Einstein, we've got a theory of gravity called general relativity. But once scientists stumbled upon quantum mechanics, they began to realize that Einstein's relativity didn't account for what was happening at the very smallest gravitational scales in the universe. General relativity is still great at describing the universe at the scale that we interact with. But even the theory of gravity is incomplete. Does that mean we throw it out because it can't explain everything? No. I mean, if you get a flat tire on your car, you get a new car. If you change the tire, is your car a different car all of a sudden? All of these fit together to make the scientific machine. We're constantly adding and taking away parts, but it keeps on running just fine. It just means we've got more work to do to make Einstein's theory even more right. Science is never done. It's always changing, and this bothers some people. How can we trust it? How can something be strong and robust if it could be different tomorrow? The goal of science is to devise frameworks that describe how things work, to truly understand why things are the way they are right now, so that we can know how things will be in the future. And if we can learn to trust science in all of its fuzziness and incompleteness, I predict that future is going to be very bright. I like that theory. Stay curious. Otters are cute. Curious, playful, cute, intelligent, fluffy, and not just cute, but they're more than just adorable animals. Otters are the cornerstone of one very important ecosystem.
Alright, so, why am I showing this one? Because we're talking about the truth. And people, each one of us, has its own truth. Sabi nga sa Latin, if I remember correctly, tot sententia, quod homini tot sententia. I don't know if I said it correctly, pero as many men, as many opinions. Kung gaano karami yung tao, ganun din karami yung opinion. Pwede ko rin sabihin, kung gaano karami yung tao, ganun din kadami yung katotohanan. Iba-iba, bakit? Magkakaiba tayong lahat. Kung magkakaiba tayong lahat, saan tayo nagkakapareho? If you remember my talk about brotherhood, similarities unite, differences divide. So why focus on the differences when we focus on the similarities? Siguro, just to give a bit of clarity on what I showed. Have you heard, do you know any law that we commonly experience every day? Can you name one? Social science, economics. May natatanda kayong batas sa economics? Law of supply and demand. Ha? Very common. Bakit pataas ang presyo? Simple answer, konti ang
Demand.
konti ang supply. Bakit konti ang supply? Malaki ang demand eh. Diba? Hindi tinatanong kung bakit konti o kung bakit malaki. Ang sinasabi lang, ganun ang batas. The same manner, pinapaliwanag in mathematical formula the law of force. For every force of action, there's an equal and opposite amount of reaction. So, ano yung force na yun? Mass times distance. Diba sa nakapunta yung force? Nako-compute nila. Science yon, law. Pero pag sinabi natin theory, ibig sabihin nun ano? Napag-aralan na. Ginamitan na ng testing. At pag na-testing mo na yon, pwede kang mag-predict. Kasi, meron kang ebidensya. Importante yan, bakit? Pag-uusapan natin spiritual. May science ba? Yan. So, tuloy na natin. Kasi, truth in theosophy basically says truth itself exists and is one. There is only the truth. Ayan sinabi. Not my truth, not your truth, not his truth, or her truth. Ano yun? Sabi ni Miss Blavatsky, in her article, Spiritual Progress, ito pinakita ko na last time, pero binabalikan lang natin. All religions and all philosophies are but the variants of the first teachings of the one wisdom, imparted to men at the beginning of the cycle by the planetary spirit. One truth, one wisdom. Maraming sinasabi tungkol sa truth, di ba? There's only one way, one truth, and one life. Ano ba yung katotohanan na yun? Ang sabi din dito sa philosophy, this is the absolute truth. Eh may absolute truth sa physical. Pwede bang dalawa yung absolute truth? Maraming questions. But then again, there's no room for absolute truth upon any subject whatsoever in a world as finite and conditioned as man himself. But there are relative truths, and we have to make the best we can of them. Finite tayo eh. How can we understand something that's infinite? That's the problem. Sarkat, palusot lang yan eh. Hindi naman talaga kayang patunayan yan. I will go. Alright? Ito pa yung mga ibang sinabi. In every age, there are sages who had mastered the absolute truth and yet could teach but relative truth. Probably that's what I'm going to do right now. For none yet born of mortal woman in our race has or could have given out the whole and the final truth to another man. For every one of us has to find that to him or to that knowledge in himself. Kayo lang ang makakasumpong nun. As no two minds can be absolutely alike, each has to receive the supreme illumination through itself, according to, sabihin ko na, your capacity and from no human life. Hindi ako, ikaw. Ngayon, gano'n ka kapursige ng mabuhay yan? Diba? The greatest adept, master, living can reveal of the universal truth only so much as the mind is impressing it upon can assimilate. Ang sabi ni Jesus, tagal ko na kayong kasama, hindi nyo pa naiintindihan. I can't remember the exact verse, but I remember there are instances in the Bible that Jesus was castigating the disciples. Hindi nyo pa naiintindihan. Binigay na nga sa inyo lahat eh. Outside a certain highly spiritual and elevated state of mind, during which man is at one with a universal mind, he can get not on earth but relative truth, or truths from whatsoever philosophy or religion. Kailangan ito lang. As physical man, limited and trammelled from every side by illusions, he cannot reach truth by the light of his terrestrial perceptions. To reach the state during which man sees and senses it We only have to paralyze the senses of the external man of prayer. Meron tayong katawan eh, na sinabi ko last time. Diba? Kaya nga, this is excerpt from What is Truth by Miss Blavatsky. So again, at this point in time, we have any questions of clarification? Yes.
Pwede mo natin ma-combine sa ating angulo yung absolute and relative o finite. Pwede ba yung ma-combine?
Actually, ikaw makakasagot ha.
Hindi kasi nabasa ko sa Urantia, meron silang word na absolute. Combination ng absolute and finite. So may mga taong pero hindi naman sila totally absolute pa, finite nga sila. Kumbaga parang merge siya, yung parang kombinasyon. So yung pag magbasa tayo ng Urantia, palagi namimit yung salitang absolute, meaning ng absolute and the finite. So nakombine niya doon. Kaya tayo, ang tao, dito lang sa angulo natin, papunta doon, pero yung absolute na hindi natin mababa. Tama yung walang so pababa, siya ang nagawa ng paraan para tayo abutin. Yung absolute truth yun, siya ang gumagawa. Pero yung kakayanan lang natin, ay mag-merge lang tayo doon sa absolute.
Pwede malaman kung bakit yun ang itanong?
Kasi nga
Kung
parang
pwede i-combine ng absolute and finite.
naitalo kasi purely relative lang yung emphasis na walang absolute, hindi talaga natin maabot.
Kasi mayroong absolute,
Hindi lang maabot.
pero kayang abutin. Kayang abutin, may nakaabot.
Mga addict.
Adele, Jesus, Buddha. I would say, I will not judge kasi ikaw lang nakakaalam nun eh. And once you attain it, you will know.
So sila ang absolute.
That's what I believe.
Tama yun.
Yeah.
They are considered to be absolute. Mataas na level na lang sa being.
So, ang sinasabi ko, sa bawat tanong mo, ibinabalik sa sarili mo. Bakit mo tinatanong yun? Kasi maganda yun dahil sa susunod na paliwanag ko, I will attempt to answer that.
Sir,
Okay.
Alright? Because,
There is one more question,
Yes.
brother. Okay. Go ahead.
yes sir,
Okay, yung first showing natin, does it implies or means to say that one way of finding truth is through experimentation?
Yeah.
I just want to emphasize that to arrive at the truth that we know today,
Yeah.
the most acceptable way and method is the scientific method. And that's what I am going to attempt to do. Kaya binigay ko siya kasi minsan may mga tao na totoo to eh, naranasan ko to eh. Hindi ba sapat yon? Pag sinabi kong hindi sapat yon, magagalit sa akin yon. Eh magkaiba ng language namin. Hindi naman siya familiar sa scientific method. Ay hindi ako naniniwala dyan sa science na yan eh. Ay hindi na kami mag-aayos. Kaya nga, to each his own. Pero ang sinasabi ko, yung paniniwala mo, may kahihinat lang yun eh. If you are willing to pursue. And that's what I'm trying to drive at now. So, medyo mahaba-haba pa.
Okay lang.
Spiritual, ano ibig sabihin niya? Ibilisan ko ng konti. It means relating to people's thoughts and beliefs. Hindi yan yung mga kaluluwa, yung mga soul, pwedeng related. Rather than their bodies and physical surroundings. Meaning, it's non-material. So pag tinanong mo sa akin tungkol sa kaluluwa, eh, hindi yan ang pinag-uusapan ko. May isip ba? Meron. May paniniwala ba? Meron. May spirituality yung tao? Meron. Kasi meron kang paniniwala, meron kang isipan.
Sir,
At yan, yes,
sir, but without bodies, there will be no thoughts and there will be no beliefs.
I agree.
So,
What's your point?
thoughts and bodies are the same. It's not spiritual kasi without bodies, there will be no
Thoughts and
thoughts.
bodies are different.
But without bodies, for me lang, without bodies, there will be no thoughts. Therefore, we're not talking about spirituality in a spiritual sense for others, but it's also physical. For me, because I said, without
For
body.
you, sir, sorry to interrupt kasi baka ng oras. Kasi pag sinabi natin non-material, ibig sabihin nun, hindi siya physical.
Non-matters sa atin.
Hindi siya physical. Pwedeng masabi natin dyan in the future, wala pang technology. Brainwave. Sinasabi yun. Pero walang scientific evidence. As of this time, ito lang yung nakakaya ng science. It may be in the future. Kagaya ni... Alright. Thank you. Ano pa? No man is an island. I just want to have a show of hands. Do you believe in this proposition? Can you see? No man is an island. Gusto nyo ako, nanood ako ng Castaway. No man is an island. Napanood nyo yun, yung bola, kinakausap niya. Alright? Ito, medyo matindi-pili. It is better to love and lose it
Wala si
than
Rizal eh.
never having to have love at all.
Wala si Rizal.
Frank.
Wala si...
ka?
Wala eh.
Mas maigi na yung magmahal at mabigo.
Ah.
Kasi hindi ka nagmahal. Masakit eh.
Ayun
Masakit
yun.
pa basket eh.
Uy, may bata rito.
Okay, kumikili.
Ito ikaw hindi.
Frank White.
Tuloy mo lang, tuloy mo lang.
Alright. Ito, mas mabigat pa yan. But what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul in the process? Gumagamit na ng soul. Ano ba yung soul na yan? Yeah, it's spirit. Spirit and soul, interchange. You gain everything in the lower, di ba? Yumaman ka, nakuha mo lang ng security, pero ano naman ang kapalit? Dignidad mo, mga gano'n, di ba? Ano? Yung prinsipyo mo, sarili mo. Saan galing yan? Matthew 16:26. So again, tingnan natin. To arrive at such, what do we use? To attain our needs, what do we use?
Body, which needs.
Ah?
Which needs?
Yan.
Lahat yan.
What do you use?
Sa akin lang sir, from physiological needs up to aesthetic needs, for me body, yung sa dalawang taas, hindi, para sa akin hindi body.
Malalim si Frank.
Hindi naman. Malalim ba yun? Ngayon lang nagkikinig.
Body, pag sinabi mo, hindi, ito, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Bakit? Kasi body, pag sinabi body, senses.
Okay.
Diba? Narinig ko. Nagkaroon ako ng perception, nagkaroon ako ng knowledge, nagkaroon ako ng belief. Nalasahan ko, nakita ko, naamoy ko, nahawakan ko. Pero yung pag-ibig ba, mahahawakan mo?
Hindi pa ako nakaranas eh.
Puso lang ko.
Lungkot naman ang buhay niyo.
Ngayon pa lang ako nagbibinata. Sige, continue.
People would
Sa'yo,
say, I will give you the stars and the moon. Pwede ba yun? Hindi. Pero, anong ibig sabihin nun? Lahat gagawin ko, tatawirin ko ang 7 dagat at 10 bundok. Mapuntahan ka lang. Physical ba yan? Hindi. Yeah. Kasi, tingnan natin, di ba? Ito yung front na sinasabi mo eh. Pagdating sa ibaba, yun ang ginagamit mo. Pero pagdating sa taas, yun, ginagawa mo. That's a certain kind of death. Because my favorite quote in life is, it is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eyes. Ha? Alright, so far klaro, yung flow of thought.
Okay lang po.
I'm a spiritual being because there's something in me that can relate to people spiritually. Pag minahal mo isang tao, I'm creating that person spiritually. So huwag ka maiyak pag nagmamahal ka. Right?
Sabi mo, titira sa inyo eh.
Because
It's not good po.
you agree, it is not good for man
To be alone.
to be alone.
Observation yan ng Diyos. Diba? Kaya na pinatulog sa Eva eh. Kaya pinatulog sa Eva.
Genesis 2:18, diba? Agree?
Agree.
Agree. May contract? It is not good for man to be alone. But the question is,
Kaya binigay si Eva.
how do we connect with others? Gusto ko pumanik sa'yo, pwede. Oy, magkasabi ni Kat, we need to connect with others. Kukunik ako sa'yo. Pwede ba yun? Nakakatawa, but then, it is one of the most difficult thing to happen. We could all be together and all of us could be dying from loneliness. Binigay ko na lahat eh. At iniwan pa niya ako. Di lang ako iniwan, tinridor pa niya ako. Si Jesus, tinridor, di ba? Bakit ganun? Siguro, titignan natin yung hierarchy. Baka, yes sir.
There is a saying, you cannot force anyone to like you or to love you, but you have to
Have a mutual
no,
understanding.
you have to
Mutual
show
understanding.
or prove that you are worth loving.
Pwede.
Hindi natin pwedeng pilitin, but you have to show that you are worth loving.
Siguro,
For someone to love you.
susundan kita. The person may choose not to love you, but the person cannot stop you from loving her. Maganda ba? Diba? Hindi mo ako mahal, pero hindi mo ako mapipigilang mahalin kita.
Iyo.
Diba? Maganda ba yan?
Akala ko spiritual.
Kahit anong gawin, kahit anong sakit.
Pambili ka din yun.
It is a choice eh.
Hinunana nga ako eh.
Ganun lang po tayo. Kaya pag
Gagawin din namin yan.
pag alam mo na yung mula sa puso, madali na eh. Hindi ka na matatakot. Hindi ka natatakot mabigo eh. Bakit? Hindi ka mabibigo pag nagmamahal ka. Walang makapipigil sa'yo.
Oh my God.
Alright? Oh, how do we connect with others? Yes.
We can do that by one way lang. Yung tinatawag ng meta-meditation, yun ang nabanggit na kanina. Kahit hindi ka love, hindi alam ng iba, you're radiating loving kindness and compassion. Pero nag-meditate ka dito, yung mga ganyan, you are connecting to the people. So, it could be one way. Hindi mo kailangan na reciprocal.
Pwede rin.
You can radiate loving kindness. Mga-apektan sila doon. And I have proven that.
I agree. That's one good thing. Pero it's not within my realm of experience. Can you teach me how?
Yeah.
Kasi yun ang question eh. What if I don't believe in that? How will you convince me?
So,
What if I have something different? Ang pinapoint out ko lang is, we have, from our experiences, formed belief systems, which we would like to share. Kasi pag may ganda mo palabas na to ano gagawin mo? Ikaikwento mo ba? Hindi, panoorin mo. Ang sarap na nakain mo sa restaurant na to Ikaikwento mo, hindi. Sasama mo para kumain. Pero pag ang isang tao nagsabi ng acne, patay tayo. Alam niyo acne?
Alam ko na yan.
Alam ko na yan. Mga networkers, alam yan. Acne. Pag sinabi mong alam mo na yan, yung sinasabi ko, Sir Ruben, hindi ko siya alam. Right? But will I have time? Kasi importante yun eh. Pwede ba ako magbigay ng time para magpag-aralan niya? May time ka ba para pagtiyagaan ako? Kasi pag wala yun, yun ang question. How do we connect? Ano nangyayari? I hope this will come deeper now. Pinakita ko na to last time. Kaya lang po na ako sa oras. How do we connect? We communicate. How do we communicate? Iba-ibang levels. Hi! Hello! Meron bang connection?
Meron.
Meron. Pero will it go deeper? Wala. O ito, pangalawa. Alam mo ba si Marjorie, ganito ginawa sa kasi Gretchen, yung matanda, binugbog, mali naman yung babae. Ayun, natulog ko siya ngayon. Alam niyo yung sinasabi ko? Di ba? Nag-report. Kaya, usapan saan yan? Sa beauty parlor. Ang tanong, meron ba kayong growth in terms of transcendence? In terms of self-actualization? Dito, nagkakaroon ng growth. Idea. More like classroom. Kasi yung idea na yan yung belief mo eh. Pinaninindigan mo na yan eh. I-revision mo yan, ipagtatanggol mo yan. But then again, nandiyan din yung punong-puno ng argumento. Kung hindi magkasundo, mag-aaway, hindi na mag-uusap. It is not in that level of communication where people it is on the that level. What is that? level of feelings. Minsan hindi makapagsalita ang tao. Pero kung marunong kang makinig, makukuha mo yan. You don't have to say anything. I understand. And if you understand, you can respond. Nakupo lang ko, mabigat ang pakiramdam ko. Lahat ng members ng faculty galit sa akin kasi late ako sa grade ko. Isa lang yung taong lumapit sa akin. Earl Marasinga. Nilapit ako sa pinisil yung balikat. Why? Kasi, ito nangyayari. Nagsasalita. O, pinakikinggan mo. Pero wala kang intindihan. Kasi naririnig mo lang salita. It doesn't mean anything. Ang daming sounds. But you hear only sounds. Ginagamit mo tenga. People speak sounds in mind. Use your brain. Brain to mind. Ideas. Pero sa tao na magmumula sa puso kung naintindihan mo. How? Alright. And you? Ito, natatandaan mo ba? Ibigsan ko lang yung konti. Ability. Binilisan ko lang kasi binigay ko na to last time, more for review. But just to emphasize, how good are you at listening with the people around you? How close are you with the people you love? Do you understand what you need to do to be able to reach out to them? O wala nang pag-asa? Kasi, I'm preempting something. Sino sa inyo nakapanood na ng Good Will Hunting? Have you encountered the film Good Will Hunting? Ikaw? Sino pa? Very good. The others, I'll give you a background. Good Will Hunting is a genius. Nagtrabaho siya sa Harvard bilang janitor. Nagbigay yung mathematics professor ng problem, hindi masagot nila. Pati yung iba hindi masagot ng math professor. Siya nasasagot niya. Kaya lang galit sa mundo. May nakita siyang kaaway ng elementary, binubog siya, gumanti siya, nakita lang niya after several years. So nakulong siya. Kasi magaling siya magpaliwanag, lagi siya nakakalaya, pero ang dami niyang kaso. Sabi ng judge, hindi kita papayagan, $50,000 bail, wala kang, or kulong ka. Nung nakulong siya, yung math professor pinuntahan siya, nakipag-deal. Papayagan siyang sumamas doon at hindi nakakulong on 2 grounds. 1, they will solve mathematics problem na kayang-kaya niya. 2, he will have to seek therapy. Yung dalawang, ayaw niya. Yung dalawang therapist, niloko lang niya. Hinipnotize siya, kunwari nagpa-hypnotize siya, tapos hindi naman totoo. Why? Because each person has his own comfort zone. Correct? Agree? Hindi mo basta-basta sasabihin sa tao ang buhay mo kung wala kang
Yung nabibili sa
wala kang tiwala.
Nabibili sa...
How do you gain the trust of a person? Hindi mo bibili yun.
Hindi, iba yung nasa mind ko.
Hindi, siya sabi niya tiwala.
Yung sa Mercury drug yung nasa mind ko eh.
Mercury na. Iba yun.
Iba pala
Iba
yun.
yun. Kung mong gagamitin yun. Sa pag-ibig.
Rama.
Alright. Dahil failed na sila, he was introduced to a unique therapist. Kilala niyo to. One of my favorite actors, Robin Williams. I'd like you to listen how defensive the person is. Alam niyo, sabi, one of the best defense is what?
Offense.
Offense. Very offensive.
Ganon?
No. I'm pumped. Let's let the healing begin. Your excuses?
Bata pa siya dun.
You're too good. Yeah, of course. What? Where are you from? The South? Like where you done with the place? No, thanks. Do you buy all these books retail, or do you send away for like a shrink kit that comes with all these volumes included? You like books? Yeah? You read any of these books? I don't know. What are any of these books? Crap them out. What about the ones on the top shelf? You read those? Yeah, I read those. Good for you. What do you think about it? Yeah, I'm not here for a fucking book report. They're your books. Why don't you read? I did. I had to. Must have taken you a long time. Yeah, I did. United States of America, complete history. One. You want to read a real history book, read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. That's what it's like. It knocks them in the ass. Better than Chomsky's manufacturing system. I think that's a good book. Spending money on these fucking fancy books, you surround yourself with the wrong fucking books. What are the right fucking books for? Hey, brother, blow that hair back. I got my hair left. Hey, you might be better off shutting that cigarette up your ass. I'll be healthy for it. Yeah, I know, it really gets away my yoga. You work out. What, you lift? Yeah. Yeah, models? No, free weights. Oh, really? Yeah, free weights, huh? Yeah, big time. Yeah, just like that. What do you bench? 285. What do you bench? You paint that? You paint? Let's go. Like that. Music. It's a real piece of shit. Well, tell me what you really think. Just the linear impressionistic mix makes a very mild composition. It's also a Winslow Homer rip-off, except you got Whitey rolling above that top one day. That's not really what concerns me, though. What concerns you? It's the coloring. You know what the real bitch of it is? It's paint by number. Is it color by number? Because the colors are fascinating. Aren't they really? I think they're all one step away from cutting your fucking hair off. Really? Oh, yeah. I think I should move to the south of France, change my name to Vincent. But I've heard the saying, ain't put on the stone. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that means you. In what way? Or maybe you're in the middle of a storm, a big fucking storm. Yeah. The sky's falling on your head, the waves are crashing up your little boat. The oars are about to snap. You're just pissing your pants, you're crying for the house, and maybe you do what you gotta do to get out. You know, maybe you became a psychologist. Bingo. That's it. Let me do my job now. Please stop with me. Come on. Maybe you married the wrong woman. Maybe you should watch your mouth. Watch it like that, Chief, all right? That's it, isn't it? You married the wrong woman. What happened? What's she leaving? What's she doing? Hang some other guy. Disrespect my wife again. I've ended you. Fuck it down. That Chief. Hands up. Ready, John?
Tapos na.
Alright. In viewing the film, tignan natin, this is more also like a test on your part, diba? You have listened, what did you get? Nakuha ka sa puso, narinig lang, may epekto ba? Kasi, siguro to emphasize the point, if you were the therapist, how would you react after that? Binastos Yung asawa niya kasi namatay ng cancer. And he loved his wife so much. But then again, he reacted on the gut level. Subukan mong bastusin ang asawa ko. Papatayin ko. That's conviction because he knows relative truth, pwede. But then he spoke from his heart. Kasi mahal niya yung asawa. Ngayon, the question is, if you were the therapist, would you still continue? Genius yun eh. Mabilis magbasa. Yung dalawang naunang therapist, binasa yung mga libro. Nung makita yung weakness nila, binabalik sa kanila. Yung unang therapist, sinabi, hindi mo ba alam na bakla ka? Na may gusto kang gawin sa akin kanina. Okay lang naman sa akin. Nag-give up. So, in your life, there are two questions. Are there some things in your life that you have already given up on? Another question. Are there people in your lives that you have already given up? So, anong gagawin ko? Kasi nandun yung yung hierarchy. Anong ginawa ni Robin Williams? Let's see.
So what's this? The Taster's Choice moment?
Second session.
This is really nice. You gotta think the swans is it's like a fetish. It's something like maybe we need to devote some time to.
Thought about what you said to me the other day about my painting. Still up tonight thinking about it. Something occurred to me. I fell into a deep, peaceful sleep and haven't thought about you since. You know what occurred to me?
No.
You're just a kid. You don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Why, thank you.
It's all right. You've never been out of Boston.
Nope.
If I ask you about art, you'd probably give me the skinny on every artwork ever written. Michelangelo. No love of him. Life's work, political aspirations, human hope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right? I bet you can't tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel. You never actually stood there and looked up at that beautiful ceiling. Seen that? If I ask you about women, probably give me a syllabus for your personal favorites. You may have even been laid a few times. But you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy. You're a tough kid. When I ask you about war, you probably throw Shakespeare at me, right? Once more into the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watched him gasp his last breath into you for help. I ask you about love. You probably call me a summit. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything. Through cancer. And you wouldn't know about sleeping sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months holding her hand. Because the doctors could see in your eyes the terms visiting hours don't apply to you. You don't know about real loss, because it only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself. I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much. I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. I see a cocky, scared, shitless kid. But you're a genius, Philip. No one denies that. No one could possibly understand the depths of you. You presume to know everything about me because you saw a painting of mine, you ripped my fucking life apart. You're an awful man. You think I know the first thing about how hard your life has been, how you feel, who you are, because I take all of the twist. Does that encapsulate you? Personally, I don't give a shit about all that, because you know what? I can't learn anything from you. I can't read in some fucking book. Unless you want to talk about you, who you are, then I'm fascinated. I'm in. But you don't want to do that for your sport. You're terrified of what you might say. You move, Chief.
Any significant lines? He did not give up. But then, if you have something similar in your life, you could relate. Diba? Nakaka-relate ako eh. Bakit? Kasi genius yung isa eh. Pero ayaw niya magsalita. How often do we need to unload and express who we really are? We want to. The problem is there someone? Kaya madalas, kitang-kita natin kanino tumatawag ng mga tao. Bakit? Hindi mo kailangan mayaman ka, mahirap ka, kahit ano ka eh. Tinatanggap ka eh. There's a saying, sabi nga, it's easier to talk to a stranger because a stranger will not judge you. Familiarity breeds contempt. The next session, di ko na nilagay, was a 1-hour session. Alam mo ginawa nila? Who can guess? Yung di nakapanood. Anong ginawa nila? Sa nakapanood. You remember? Nagtinginan lang. Kasi pag hindi siya nagsalita, wala siyang magagawa. The ball is in his court. Pag mahal ka na, minahal mo ng lahat, ginawa mo ng lahat, nag-aantay ka. Mag-aantay ka pa ba? Ang mahal mo, mag-aantay ka. Si mahal mo. Pero kung hindi, sabi nga nila, move on. Life offers a lot. Eventually, what happened? Because of his ability to listen with his heart, and he knows how to talk and share person to person, naging magkaibigan sila. He gained his trust. They became friends. Until such time, itong guy na to, karoon ng girlfriend, eventually, nung mahal na siya, pinush niya. Bakit? May tao bang alam yung takot na may nagmamahal sa kanya? Meron. Bakit? Diba? Sa reading natin nakaraan, I wish I could be like that. They're so clear in their emotions, so free in their feelings. But it can't be. Why is it so? I've been hurt. I have trusted and been betrayed at times. I have loved and received nothing in return. I tried hard to care and failed often. I shared my secrets and heard them whispered to others. I've fallen on my face. I bound my shins. Look, I am all full of scars. Ang sabi, young love is not the highest form of human love. The greatest love comes from scarred people. I know many people stop loving, so they won't be hurt again. But those people who start over again, who continue
with fixing somebody's car, someone will get to work the next day because of me. There's honor in that.
Yeah, there is honor in that. There's honor in, taking that 40-minute train ride. So those college kids could come in the morning and the floors are clean and the wastebaskets are empty. That's real work.
That's right.
Right, and that's honorable. Sure, that's why you took that job. I mean, for the honor of it. I just have a little question here. You could be a janitor anywhere. Why did you work at the most prestigious technical college in the whole fucking world? And why did you sneak around at night and finish other people's formulas that only 1 or 2 people in the world could do and then lie about? Because I can see a lot of honor in that work. So what do you really want to do?
I want to be a shepherd.
Really?
I want to move up to Nashville, get a nice little spread, get some sheep and tend to them.
Maybe you should go to... No, you're gonna jerk off once. You just do it at home with a moist towel.
You chucking me?
Yeah, get the front.
No, time's not up yet.
Yeah,
I'm not leaving, no.
Listen, you're not gonna answer my questions. You're wasting my fucking time.
What? I thought we were friends. What do you mean?
Playtime's over, okay?
Why are you kicking me out, Sean? You lecturing me on life? Look at you, you fucking burnout. What winds your clock?
Working with you.
Where's your soulmate? You want to talk about soulmates? Where is she?
Dead.
That's right, she's fucking dead. She fucking dies. You just cash in your chips and you walk away?
Hey, at least I played a hand.
Oh, if you played a hand and you lost. You lost a big fucking hand. And some people will lose a big hand like that and have to sack to ante up again.
Look at me. What do you want to do? You're gonna do bullshit. You're a bullshit answer for everybody. But I ask you a very simple question, and you can't give me a straight answer. Because you don't know. See you, Bobby. Fuck you. You're the shepherd.
Then eventually tapusin ko na. In the end, Robin Williams will have to give an evaluation. Was he able to get through?
What is it? It's your file. Send it back to the judge for evaluation.
Well, you're not gonna fail me, are you? What's it say?
Read it.
Why? Have you had any, experience with that?
20 years of counseling. Yeah, I've seen some pretty awful shit.
Have you had any experience with that?
Personally. Yeah, I have.
Sure ain't good.
My father was an alcoholic. Mean fucking drunk. He took home habit, looking to wail on somebody. So I had to provoke him, so he wouldn't go after my mother and my brother. Interesting nights with when he wore his rings.
Yeah, he used to just put a wrench, a stick, and a belt on the table and just say choose.
Well, I gotta go with the belt there, man.
Nice, you know, with the wrench.
Why the wrench?
Just fuck him, that's why.
Your foster father.
Yeah. So, what is it, like, Will has an attachment disorder, is it all that stuff? Fear of abandonment? Is that why I broke up with Scott?
I didn't know you had.
I did.
Want to talk about it?
No.
You will? I don't know a lot. You see this? Holy shit. It's not your fault. Look at me, son. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I know.
No. It's not your fault.
I know.
It's not your fault.
All right?
It's not your fault.
be alright. Don't bother me, Sean. Not you. It's not your fault.
So again, the rest I've given you already. When people start talking, listen carefully and try to hear what you're not saying. Kaya nga, nanood ako ng Joker. I'm sorry to say na it did not meet my expectation. But the thing is there. Naging Joker siya kasi nakaranas siya ng injustice. Diba? But ang huli, so much rage. But should we wait until we find people being transformed into a Joker? Nakatawa sa labas. Pero punong-puno ng sakit sa likod. I have it here with me. Binasa niyo na lahat yan. Please listen to what I'm not saying. Don't be fooled by the face I wear, for I wear a mask. I wear 1,000 masks, masks that I'm afraid of, and none of them is me. Sabi niya, it's not your fault. Nag-communicate ba? Oo. Naintindihan ba? Oo. But he responding from his heart in there. Ayaw eh. Ayaw ilabas, takot eh. And that fear will remain there kung walang gut si Robin Williams, alam niya. Who wants to have some copy? Pamimigay ko na lang. Please listen to what I will say. May gusto kumuha. Ito yung last time na ayaw. Pagdala. Might want to read and highlight some lines that are significant to you. Ito yung sinasabi ng attorney na it says sometimes some mood to be able to relate. Diba? Don't be fooled by me. Don't be fooled by the face I wear. For I wear a mask. Share na lang sa I wear 1,000 masks. Masks that I'm afraid of and none of them is me. Pretending is an art that's second nature with me. But don't be fooled. For God's sake, don't be fooled. I gave you the impression that I'm secure, that all is sunny and unruffled with me, within as well as without. That confidence is my game, that coolness is my game, that I'm in command, and that I need no one. But don't believe me, please. My surface may seem smooth, but my surface is my mask. Beneath lies no smugness, no complacence. Beneath dwells the real me in confusion, in fear, in aloneness. But I hide this. I don't want anybody to know it. I panic at the thought of my fear being exposed. That's why I frantically create a mask to hide behind a nonchalant, sophisticated facade to help me pretend, to shield me from the glance that knows. But such a glance is precisely my salvation. My only salvation. And I know it. That is, if it is followed by acceptance, if it is followed by love. It is the only thing that will free me from my own self-built prison walls. from the barriers that I so painstakingly erect. It's the only thing that will assure me of what I cannot assure myself. That I'm really worth something. I don't dare to tell you this. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid that your love, your glance will not be followed by acceptance and love. I'm afraid that you'll see less of me, and you'll see this and reject me. And so begins the parade of masks, and my life becomes a front. I tell you everything that's really nothing, and nothing of what's everything, what's crying within me. So when I go through my routine, please listen carefully and try to hear what I'm saying. What for survival I need to say, but which I cannot say. I dislike hiding, honestly. I dislike the superficial, phony game I'm playing. I'd like to be genuine and spontaneous and me. You've got to help me. Want to share some nice? Don't need to explain, just read.
Anyway, those passages which Joker expressed is based on his love belonging, because when he discovered himself that the true mother is not the mother that he take care of, and then when he see that he was only adopted from another family that was transferred to every family because of his what we call indifference, or because that sickness inside is a psychological what we call manner or behavior that you cannot cry without something that grieves in yourself. You cannot laugh when you see nothing to laugh. But this is psychological. I just see that movie, and we talked with my wife, and I explained to him that this is the story of aloneness, or meaning belonging to a certain kind of he created in his mind. So, is there any like that? Yes, because the truth is, I have a student boxing, a 6-rounder boxer. I teach him a lot of defense. I teach him about the secret of boxing. But there is one thing: his family don't love his kind of sports. You know one thing that came, he in love with a girl. Then when he came to that situation, he was meaning, many people reject him. So later on, he became sick. He talked with nonsense, and then one day he created a killing to the place, but it is not, because he cannot express himself. So what the family did, they chained him and they covered him in the city of our neighborhood. You know, one day there's a news came to me that, oh, your brother died. Oh, what happened? Tinali lang siya, kinadena lang siya, hindi siya lumalabas ng bahay. Dahil natatakot yung pamilya niya na ilabas siya. Sabi ko, that is inhumanity. Nakarelate ako doon sa sinasabi mo. No? Yung truth dito, talaga totoo, love. yung presentation mo, that is good because without the heart, the love, you cannot see the truth. You know, ako pwede ko i-demanda yung pamilya na yun eh. Kasi pinatay niyo yung anak niyo sa, imbis na i-forward niyo sa gobyerno para magamot siya. Pero ginawa niyo siyang masahol pa sa hayop. So, inhumanity yun. So, ang tanong, pamilya mo, nakadugo mo na, may pag-ibig ba kayo doon sa taong yun? Yun yung point ko eh. So, ganun din yung nangyari doon kay Joker. Pero siya naman, expressive siya. Dito, hindi siya naging expressive, kinulong siya, kinadena siya eh. Hanggang kinamatay niya na yun.
Sir, may tatanong.
Sige.
How do you see it?
Ha?
How do you see it?
Well, that is your expression of what you are, and then
Can you give me some adjectives to describe how you see it?
yes, you're saying what is true behind